Welcome back to Exploring Eugene. In this video, we'll explore 7 reasons you may want to avoid moving to the area, and it's my goal to make sure that you are fully informed to make the best decision possible. All right, so let's jump in. The first thing to discuss is the cost of living. On average, looking at the United States as a whole, Eugene is 7% more expensive than the national average for the cost of living. This includes factors such as housing, which in this area certainly drive up pricing. Affordable housing is a big topic of conversation, but it really doesn't exist locally. The average home price in Eugene is in the low 500,000s. It's safe to say living in such a beautiful place certainly comes with a higher cost of living. And when it comes to job opportunities, Eugene has an abundance of options, including healthcare, construction, millwork, and plenty of other industries. But compared to larger cities such as Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, we're a bit more limited in terms of large corporations, where more administrative, HR roles, and tech jobs might exist like you would find in bigger cities. Let's jump into a quick map that'll help break down what I'm trying to explain. This map outlines where Fortune 500 companies are headquartered throughout the United States. When it comes to the West Coast, you'll find something interesting here. Most of Fortune 500 companies are located in Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And when it comes to Oregon, we're definitely more limited. Can you guess who's in the Portland area? If you guessed Nike, you're correct. And then in Southern Oregon, we have Lithium Motors is headquartered there. But in Eugene, we don't have any Fortune 500 companies. Next, let's talk about establishing friendships and relationships in this area. I've lived all over the country, and I can say it takes a bit more time to develop some of those strong friendships and relationships than you might find in other parts of the United States. Don't get me wrong, Eugene and Springfield are made up of tons of amazing people. They can just be a bit more reserved, and it can take more time to establish those relationships than you might find elsewhere. And when it comes to weather, it's worth noting that we receive a high volume of rain during the winter time. This can certainly impact outdoor jobs and kids' sports, so it's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about moving to the area. Temperatures usually stay above freezing, but we can have cold, wet rain for days and days on end during that wintertime period. And that rolls into my next point, the pace of living. If you're not used to it, we have a bit slower pace of living, especially during the wintertime when people become more indoorsy, and it can certainly be a contrast if that's not what you're used to. Simply put, we have fewer events during the wintertime, and it seems like some people go into hibernation. And something that doesn't get discussed much online is that we do have a fire season. Typically, we'll have several dry months during the summertime, and towards the end of summer and early fall, we'll have a period where the fire risk is a bit higher. And in the local mountains, we'll often have areas of forest that burn and can bring quite a bit of ash and smoke into the valley here. And my next point is around zoning challenges and city rules. They can definitely be limiting when it comes to partitioning land, adding an additional home on your property, or using your property as you see fit. There can be lots of obstacles when it comes to making changes to your property and how it's currently being used. And a bonus point, let's talk about property taxes. The county assessor makes it a bit complex, but property taxes are typically about 1% of the current value of your home, with your property tax typically increasing about 3% every year. It can also vary quite a bit depending on the home and when it was last assessed, and if you have any deferrals in place for land use. So that wraps things up. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or you're thinking about moving to the area, reach out anytime by call or text. I'm here to help.